of role did he play in forming the Jimmy Jam that is today, the producer? I mean, what did Prince teach you that really led to your success?
Work ethic. He would, you know, really drive us hard at rehearsals. And on a song, for instance, just any song at random, he would say, okay, both hands have to be moving, and I'd say, well, we didn't do that on the album. He says, no, you got to be better than the album. You'd have to dance. You'd have to sing your note. You know, he would make you work harder than you thought you could actually work. And I'd go home and I'd go, gee, I can't do this. And then the next day I'd come back and it would be like second nature to me. So it was like, he was just an inspiration as far as grinding you and pushing you past what you think your limits are.
It always looks, to those of us not in the music industry, it always looks so much fun, and we always see the fun side of it. But is that the key to success, and maybe one of the keys to your success is learning how to treat the business as a business and to have that work ethic?
It is a business, and but it's also a lot of fun, because the reason we got into playing music, writing music, was for the fun of it. So you always have to keep you always want it to be fun. You know, that's the bottom line. But to get ahead, you have to work, because when you have one success, then you have to work that much harder to stay where you're at or to try to keep growing. So
you've got a pretty tough act to follow from the year you had in 1986.
Well, we're not trying to follow it in this sense that we did in 1986. We're trying to move along to some different things now. We're doing quite a bit of soundtrack work now. We just had New Edition in town, and Patti LaBelle working on a movie, Dragnet. So, you know, we're trying to move into another thing, because you can look at 1986, you say, okay, they sold a lot of records this year, and that's what they did. But 1986 was set up by a lot of hard work in 1985. So as far as a big record-selling year, maybe 1988, but 1987 will be the year to work to get a 1988 year, you know.
I see how I'm going to phrase this. You know, when you think of rhythm and blues and real good moving rock and roll and dance tunes and that sort of thing, you think of maybe Detroit or maybe back during the Stax days in Memphis and places like that. You don't normally think of some place like the Twin Cities where, you know, you can dance the polka or some other things. What is it? Well, hey,
you can dance the polka. I don't know about that.
No, come on. You've written a couple of polka tunes in your time, haven't you?
No, let me tell you. Yeah, I used to drum with my dad, and we used to play clubs. And believe me, you'd have to play anything. I mean, if you're from dinner music to, you know, funk to rock and roll, whatever, you know, you'd have to do
the beer
everything.
barrel polka was actually an inspiration for Control.
I know it. I can sing it. Sure.
What I'm getting at is why didn't this surface before? Why now?
That's really hard to say. I think part of it is now that there is an awareness that there is something happening up here. Before we were just kind of drifting around in the dark, and a few people knew about it, and, you know, now that people are aware, it's just being called to everyone's attention. I think it's been happening slowly for a long time, but now everybody is going, hey, that's the place to be. And the people in Minneapolis are probably the last to know, as a matter of fact, because the record companies on the coast, believe me, they know, and they have known for quite a while.
Yes, I've been reading that you're going to be doing a movie with possibly the original Time members and Janet Jackson. Could you tell us more about that?
Yeah, what I can tell you is that that's hopefully going to be in 1988. We're shooting for 1987, and everybody's schedules got so caught up that it doesn't look like we're going to make it. But we are planning on still doing it. It's just going to take a little longer than we thought, but we're looking forward to doing it.
Jimmy, now, when you were out of Washburn High School, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you know, and now all of a sudden you've had this success. I mean, you're a man of money, a man of means now. I mean, you're a millionaire. Let's face it. You paid cash for a Ferrari. Not every person in the world.
Wait a minute now.
Now, wait, hey, is that true?
The IRS doesn't watch this show, do they?
No,
I mean, the 15th is right around the corner, and you know,
yeah,
give me a break.
No.
Wait a minute, you just came back from vacation, though, right?
Well, yeah, but I just went to Rochester. What can I say? No.
Okay.
But no, what I'm getting at is that in writing songs, as a young guy before you made it, and writing songs now, how has that changed? Have you been able to stay in touch with who Jimmy Jam really is? Because it's very difficult when people treat you different now.
They do, and they tell you that you changed. They say, you changed. And I go, no, I didn't change, but you've changed towards me, you know.
Their perception of you changed.
Yeah. It's really easy to write songs, and part of the thing that makes it so easy is that I do have a partner, Terry, who's out of town working. And that's what makes it easy. It keeps everything in perspective. If I didn't have a partner, I couldn't do it, you know. It's rough
How'd
to
you
do
guys
alone.
hook up together? I mean, this is a crazy quote, but I read it somewhere, maybe Rolling Stone, that if Terry Lewis was a woman, you would marry him.
Right.
Now, explain that.
Well, I mean, in a person, I mean, male or female, you look for certain qualities and certain things that you admire. And he's a person that I admire and respect. And long before we were friends, in fact, that's how we got to be friends, is because of respect, because he was a writer and he was a good person. And that's what I meant by that, you know, that I'd look for the same qualities in a woman, you know.
Now, who writes the music? Who writes the lyrics? I mean, do you switch off? Or
And
is
it goes
just
either
kind of...
way. Generally, I end up writing most of the music and Terry writes most of the lyrics, but not in every case. But generally, probably 60-40, I write the music and Terry does the lyrics.
You mentioned that both coasts really know that Minneapolis is the place to be now to record.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure, give me some names of some of the big-time artists that have been calling you that want to work with you and your partner.
Well, quite a few. We've basically been turning down everybody because...
Oh, give me some names, like Aretha?
Yeah, but that was long ago. We turned her down a long time ago.
What,
Whitney,
I mean, you
Whitney
turned down
Houston,
Aretha Franklin.
Whitney Houston, Lionel Richie. Yeah, I don't know.
Why would you turn down big names like that to work with relatively unknowns, people who have not made it big yet?
That's part of the reason. I mean, there's a certain satisfaction of taking somebody from, like a Janet Jackson, from 200,000 albums to now her albums at 4.5 million in the United States and about 7 million worldwide. There's more satisfaction there. And you know the old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, or something like it. What is it? If it ain't, one of those.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
That's it.
Come right over here. Can you scoot over a little bit?
I'm just curious, to get in with you guys, it seems to be like there's a special clique happening in the cities. How do people get into that clique, and how did you find, you used somebody local for the Control album, Lisa Keith. How did you find her? Did you have auditions? You just somebody knew somebody and found out, or what?
Somebody knew somebody. Lisa Keith was real interesting. Interesting story. Lisa was given to me on a demo tape of a song called He Doesn't Know I'm Alive, which was written by a local writer named Spencer Bernard. The tape was given to me to listen to her voice, but I liked the song, and I said, I like this song. I think Janet could do this really well. And Lisa had done the background on the tracks, and Janet sang over it. And what ended up happening was through that, we ended up signing both Lisa and Spencer as writers. So it was just through one demo tape. So, I mean, so it happens like that, you know.
Well, we're very happy that out in Los Angeles now, joining us on the telephone is a very special lady that you've been working with. And, Jimmy, you might want to say hello to her because Janet Jackson now is on the phone with us here on Twin Cities Live. Jimmy, you want to say hi?
Hi, Janet.
Hi, Jimmy.
You sound like you're... What time is it out there? It must be, what, 8:30? Something like that?
How are you?
I'm fine. How you doing?
I'm fine.
I was listening to you all night last night. I didn't get any sleep. I was remixing Diamonds.
Are you kidding?
No. So it came out great, but I'm tired. I'm going to get you when I see you next time. For keeping me up all night.
Janet?
Yes?
Let me ask you a question. You come from a very, very powerful music family. I mean, you basically could have gone to anybody that you wanted to produce your album. I mean, your family has that sort of power within the music industry. Why did you pick Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, and why did you come to Minneapolis, of all places, to record it?
Well, first of all, it was John McClane's idea for me to use Jimmy and Terry, and I was familiar with their work, and I really enjoyed it, so I went along with the idea. I thought it was a great idea. Jimmy and Terry felt that I should get away from my environment here just to get to another one, which was Minneapolis, and just get some fresh air and everything. So they thought it would be a good idea for me to go out there. Plus, there's studios there as well.
Tell me about working with Jimmy and Terry and what it was like when you're putting the Control album together.
It was a lot of fun. When I first got there, I thought we would go straight into the studio, but they gave me like a week to fool around and have fun. So it was a lot of fun working with them. They're perfectionists in the studio, but at the same time, they know how to have fun with it. So it doesn't seem like work. They make it a lot of fun.
You're so nice.
Jimmy, your approach that you used with Janet, as far as some of the songs that you put on that album may have surprised some people. Nasty, and some of those songs. How did you make the decision to use those particular songs, and how did you really find out who Janet Jackson really was?
Well, like she said, when she first came up, we didn't go in the studio. We just spent a week fooling around, and that was basically getting to know her, getting her to feel comfortable and open up to us and get things off her chest, you know, so she would feel like, I mean, being a producer is like being a counselor sometimes, a cook, you know, whatever it takes to get the project done. And Janet had a lot of things to get off her chest. She'd tell us things, we'd write it down or remember it, and that's how we put the album together. So it was just getting to know each other. Yeah.
Janet, were you surprised by anything in particular about working with Jimmy and Terry? I mean, is there anything that really surprised you about the duo?
That really surprised me?
Yeah.
I would say there was one time when Jimmy and I, we were in the car along with a friend of mine, Melanie, and I was singing one of the songs I was supposed to sing later on, and I hit a certain note, and he goes, yeah, that's nice. So when we got in the studio, I didn't want to hit that note. It was like a high note, and he kept trying to make me hit this note. So finally I did it, and he called me, Jimmy, you remember this, don't you?
What? Huh? No, I remember. I remember. No, I mean, that was just like opening up. Like, you know, when you're in a car messing around and we throw on the tape and I'd say, okay, we're going to sing this tonight, and she'd be bopping around and hitting all these notes and stuff, and then you get in the studio and you freeze up, you know? And, I mean, toward the end of the project, she got totally comfortable. I mean, I can't wait till the next project because I only feel that maybe 2 or 3 of the songs on the album really are there. I mean, because she was really comfortable.
Janet, I know you have to run. I just want to get real quickly in here. You said the next project. Are you going to be coming back to Minneapolis soon to put another album together?
Sure. I will.
Well, we look forward to seeing you here in the Twin Cities. And Jimmy, when you're working with someone like Janet, who's talking to her on the phone, she seems very, very nice. But I'm sure that artists, when you get into... No, wait a minute now. Give me a chance here, folks. Let me finish my question. When you're working with an artist, and occasionally, like she mentioned the note, and she didn't want to hit the note, but you want her to hit the note, then there's some friction sometimes between a producer and an artist. How do you handle that?
Well, in Janet's case, there was never any friction at all. You try to not get artists that you're going to have friction with. You can kind of tell whether you're going to have it anyway, and we knew we weren't going to have any. We didn't have any with Janet at all.
Well, I want to thank Janet once again, and also we're here with Jimmy today to talk about the Minnesota Music Awards.